what fuel do you need to receive overflow, right? To move from beyond just enough or not enough or lack, because there's a different fuel that you're using for that. We'll get into that. What fuel do you need for overflow and abundance, right? And let me know when you're watching on the replay. Let me know when you're live. Say hi. So I'm constantly going through money initiations and up-leveling how much money I feel comfortable receiving, holding, circulating, right, et cetera, et cetera. I am constantly doing this work. And so this week I've had a lot of realizations around what it takes to move beyond just enough and comfortable and you have the basics or less than, right? Like up to that point. And to move into overflow, to move into more than enough for your needs, right? And what I'm receiving through my channel, because I receive energy and imprints and all kinds of things around abundance as just part of who I am, because I'm just somebody who is meant to teach this. It just is the way it is. So I receive a lot of information from consciousness of abundance. Okay, let's put it that way. And as I'm working through these things in my own head, this metaphor came to mind. Okay, so if the vehicle is money, right? If the vehicle is overflow, is money. Actually, if the vehicle is just money, right? Money, money, money. You need fuel. You need a fuel source to power the money, right? So a lot of the time when you are living in a pattern of scarcity, of not enough, of lack, or maybe just enough, right? You're okay. You're going to survive in that range, right? You're using a specific kind of fuel. And what came to mind was I don't know if you know what fuel goes into tugboats and big cargo ships and things like that, but it is some dirty, nasty fuel, right? It is fuel that is uncleansed, so to speak, right? It's not very purified. It's just kind of out of the ground, and it's just like this dirty, dense fuel. It's not good for the environment, right? So that was the visual I got. It's we're using that kind of fuel when you are in lack and scarcity or just making it. And that, energetically speaking, is need, right? So let me know if you can relate to using need to fuel the money that you're receiving. And it is a slow, not very environmentally friendly, not very effective fuel. It works, but, you can only get so far, right? In a tugboat or in a ship that's moving cargo, right? It's very slow moving. So that is what I'm talking about. That fuel that you're using in that loop of scarcity or just enough is need. And this has been how I've manifested money for a long time, was purely through need. And if I was in need of something, I needed to pay a bill, I needed to eat, something was very pressing and very imminent in my reality, I could manifest the money for that, right? I could manifest money out of the sky for that, because my fuel that I was using was need. Now, it's not a bad thing to be able to manifest in need, right? This is not judging that. It's good. You're okay. You're covered in that moment. But when you use that fuel, you then just perpetuate that pattern, because that type of fuel can't get you further. It can only get you to be covered in your needs. And then you just repeat the cycle, because you're in need. You manifest out of the sky to cover your need. You pay the thing. Now you're back in need. You don't have overflow. You don't have more than enough. You're not building that momentum of abundance and overflow of money because of the type of fuel you're using. It's just not the right kind of fuel for overflow, right? Now, when you want to tap into overflow, there's a different fuel that powers money. A different fuel powers the money behind overflow, right? We're moving from need into desire, right? And again, the metaphor that I got was fuel, right? So if you know or don't know, the fuel that powers airplanes and fighter planes and jets, right? Things that move really fast, right? Things that go far and fast and are very, high efficiency, you travel further faster. That type of fuel is easier on the environment. It's not great, right? But compared to the previous fuel, right? Like there's a higher frequency around it. It's more pure, it's more clean, right? That's what I mean. That fuel is desire. So if you want to begin to tap into overflow, the fuel that you need to power your vehicle, in this case it's an airplane, to fly around the world, right, in hours versus taking your sweet ass time in that busted old boat. Thank you for the nails. I wanted to go third eye. Okay, the fuel you need is desire, right? And this is something that I've been integrating in the last like month especially. Like I'm now in a place of overflow, more than enough. Money consistently coming in because I've switched my fuel source from need, which gets the job done but keeps you in need, to desire. So let me know what you're thinking. What's popping off as I'm talking about this, because this is going to be, some people receive this energetically and not understand it logically. Some people receive it logically and it'll make sense, but you might be like, I think I get what she's saying, but like, it's not fully integrated, or you might fully get it, right? It just depends on where you're at in your journey. But desire is the key to overflow. So you have to begin to tap into the energy of desire if you want to create that overflow of money and move from just enough or lack to overflow. Desire is the key. That is the fuel. And it takes a level of trust. And also I had a lot of wounds around desires growing up. So this had to be like shadow worked too for myself. And let me know in the comments if you can relate. Because when I was a kid, I couldn't get what I wanted, right? Because finances were tight. So my parents would tell me no a lot, right? And beyond that, it would be like, you should feel bad for wanting more, right? So they felt bad that they couldn't give me more. So then it was like, oh, they kind of, it unintentionally reflected that to me, right? Through their words and their actions. It was like, well, you shouldn't even ask for more. Like, who do you think you are to want more, right? But really it was just their wounding of not being able to provide more. You know what I mean? So this had to be shadow worked out because I had resistance to desires. Because if you keep getting told no over and over and over, you have a negative association with wanting, with desire, with more, with what's next, right? So I had to really shift that energy in myself and go, okay, it's safe and okay to desire. It's safe and okay to tap into the more and use that as the fuel to propel the money. And that will lead to a much bigger, better, more consistent, more abundant reality. Right? So I have to stop manifesting from, I need this. I need to pay that bill. I need to pay that person back. I need to eat. I need to, right? I had to switch from that desire, that fuel source, into desire. I desire to go shopping. I desire a vacation. I desire this latte right now. I desire a gym membership. I desire. That is the new fuel. And that leads to more. Okay, so Peyton says, have you been secretly a fly on the wall in my house? Perhaps I astral traveled to your house in my dreams. God hitting me left and right with tests, but I don't want it to drag me into lack. Yes, so that is a great point, Peyton, because that happens, right? So the moment you decide I'm ready for more, what's that word, right? Or that phrase, to whom much is given, much is tested. And it isn't a test as a negative standpoint, right? Like, don't see these as tests. See them as like initiations or like a negative test, right? It's here to serve you. You're saying you want more, so the universe is like, okay, let's make you capable of holding and receiving more. I'm helping you. Here you go. Here's a chance to step into your power. Here's your chance to redecide what you get to have. Here's a chance to reaffirm your new identity, your new reality, your new experience with money. Here is another chance to do that, right? And that actually happened to me. Well, it happens to me a lot. Like, it's going to continue to happen. But, the last couple of months, I've had a lot of those tests around personal power and money. So I would be getting, like, I would notice there was a pattern of, like, larger bills coming in, like things that I wasn't expecting. And the old me would have been like, oh my God, I can't pay this plus all the things that I need, right? So there was this test of like, well, can you tap into overflow, cover your needs, and then cover whatever else is being required of you right now? And so I had to lean into that and go, okay, I see you. I see what's happening here. Do I have the power? Am I going to go, oh, this fucking sucks, now I have this extra thing to pay for, and like go into my old stories of like victimhood and like lack consciousness. Like, am I going to do that? Or am I going to go, I am powerful as fuck when it comes to money, and this is not a problem. I can do this. I can hold this. I can manage it. The money will support me, right? So I chose to do the second part, right? I chose to do the empowered part, which isn't always easy, right? You're gonna wobble at times. That's normal, but you just you reset back into where you're going, right? And this is stuff that I teach my clients all the time, right? You recommit. You redecide. There's no going back in my world anymore. I can't go back. It's only here or better, right? I only build, I only grow. So you get to make that choice. And if you somehow wobble and go back to the old pattern, that's okay. It will just circle back around again for you to retry, right? And I've done that too. I've had to have a kick at the can more than once myself. Like, it's not uncommon, right? It's not a bad thing. It's just going to take you a bit longer to get there, and that's okay, right? So I decided that I was in my power and paid these things. The money showed up, right? So I proved to myself, oh, I actually do get this, right? I actually do have power over my finances. I'm not a victim. I'm not in lack. The resources show up for me. When I say that it's done, it's done. And so now it's like I'm experiencing that overflow of that power that I've activated, right? I'm in that energy now of like, yeah, I've got this. Like, it's not a big deal. I feel very capable. I feel very supported. I feel very powerful. Peyton says, yep, unexpected stuff. Exactly the same right now. Yeah, this happens all the time, especially when you say you want more. So that, can come with a bunch of different, processes and things to do. But what I realized once I hit that place of like, money is always available, right? So like for the past few months, I've really embodied and grounded into that. Money is always available. So like, that's my new belief system. That is my core belief now. That wasn't always that way, trust me. But that is my core belief now. Money's always available. So now that I'm in that money's always available, okay, now that I'm stable, now that money is always flowing and constantly in my life, how do I go to overflow, right? And so that was when I received that around desire. So right now, I'm just allowing myself to dream. I'm allowing myself to plan. I'm allowing myself to desire things. And I don't do it from a place of, this has to happen today, right? I have to receive what I'm intending today. No. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, this is the fuel. Desire is the fuel. Desire is the motivator. Desire calls all the energy forward, right? From source, God, universe. It calls it to you to use in your creations, right? And even further than that, if desire is the fuel to the money and the overflow, imagination is the engine, right? Imagination is what actually takes that fuel and turns it into something that you can use to propel yourself forward, right? Imagination is the next step. So that's why allowing yourself to dream, allowing yourself to plan things, even if they're, in your reality right now, a little bit out of reach, that's good. Right? You're in the energy for the sake of being in the energy. And I'm telling you, like, money is flying at me right now. Like, money is flying at me. Like, it's wild. Like, in all ways, like big ways and small ways, it's fucking flying at me. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it was really this simple this whole time. Like, holy shit. Right? Like, desire is the fuel. Desire is the fuel. So what do you desire? Right? What do you desire? Even if you don't think you can manifest it today, I don't care about that. But we're tapping into the fuel that creates overflow. We're no longer manifesting from need. Even if you need things, we don't manifest from that place, right? You can need something, but not be energetically manifesting from that place, right? And when you manifest from desire, your needs are inherently covered. And that's the ironic thing. That's the part that our human side kind of wants to fight us on sometimes, but it's the truth, right? When you focus on desires, the needs are like, of course, they're done, they're taken care of. Okay? So what are you desiring right now? What feels really good for you to receive? Like, what experiences? What do you want to purchase? What do you want to go do with your money? What do you want to just do today? Like, desires can be anything, but activating that is a huge piece to overflow. So what do you desire? So today I'm going out with a friend. We're doing some co-working. It's going to be really good, right? I've just been really allowing myself to desire, allowing myself to stretch beyond where I'm at in my mind first, in my energy first, right? And then seeing how my physical reality, how my human catches up. And it's pretty incredible how that happens. It's amazing. Any thoughts and feelings to share before I hop off this live stream? Feel free. But yeah, that was a big key. That was a big, big key. Oh, and also I forgot to say, so every Wednesday I'm doing an abundance infused email. So just by being on my email list, you will receive an abundance activation through your email. And this is going to help you tap into the abundance and overflow vibes, right? So you could be magnetic to the things on your path, the money, the success, opportunities, whatever is next for you on your path, right? These abundance emails will help you get in the energy, right? Every Wednesday. So if you want to be on that email list, of course it's free, just for being a part of it. Say, drop an emoji below or drop something that says, I'm in, and I will add you to the email list. And I'm going to be sending one out in a couple hours here. But every Wednesday, you're going to get an abundance infused email. So I'm excited to do that. Okay. Peyton says, I want freaking convenience. Yes. Taking shit off my plate and being able to just do for my kids. Yes. So allow yourself to play in that energy for the sake, like a lot of the time we go into imagination as a means to an end, right? And we kind of put our lack frequency unknowingly into imagining, into visualizing, into our intentions, because we're like, well, I want this, so I'm going to think about it, right? So when you're doing it from that energy, it inherently muddies the connection. But when you do it from a place of, I'm doing this for the sake of the fuel, I'm doing this because this just is the fuel, and that's the reward in and of itself, then things are much more pure, a higher frequency, and things flow, right? So just get in the energy of what does that look like? Just play in that, just for the sake of being in that energy, to call forth what you desire, right? Yes, I understand that, right? Things that are necessities. That is the whole thing, right? You can't get there from there. You can't say, I want it all covered before I feel abundant, even though the human wants to say that, and that's what makes logical sense to your human side. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately, right? So how do you close the gap? By realizing that you're safe now, by acknowledging all the ways that you are safe now, that you are covered now, what you do have now in your life, right? So make sure you do feel safe. That's important. And I talk a lot about that in my programs, in my abundance portal. I go a lot about safety, because that's the key, that your human will feel unsafe. Make your human feel safe, then more flows in. You can't do it any other way. It doesn't work, right? So you can be in need factually, but not be in need in your energy. And that is the whole shift. That is the whole shift. And it's not easy all the time. I get it. I know from experience. It's not easy all the time, but it's the only way forward. Like, there's no other way. We can want it to be different all we want, but there's no other way. Like, this is a gift, truly, for you to plug into your power. And it sucks some days, and some days you don't want that gift, but it is a gift, right? It really is a gift. Yes, simple yet so complex. Yes. Exactly. So I've been through it. I can help you. I can help you with that if you want to join any of my things that we cover that with.